What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have an absolutely amazing Yanmega EX and Greninja deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'll go over the deck build that you can see on the left hand side of the screen. I'll talk about each of these cards individually, and I'll talk about why they work so well with each other. It seems like recently Greninja is in almost every deck you can think of. Greninja is such a versatile card. I've come out with multiple decks recently with Greninja, and I decided to pair up Greninja with Yanmega EX. Couple of reasons. One, Yanmega EX is a lost card at this point. It's still pretty good. People definitely have underestimated this card. I've been using this deck a lot and actually been doing really well with it. Two, I love Yanmega in general. As soon as Yanmega was released, it was one of my go-to Pokemon back in the days of Yanmega. So, without further ado, let's talk about this deck. But before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon TCG content. Do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Let's talk about Yanmega first, because Yanmega is a lost Pokemon right now. Y'all probably already know what Greninja does, but let's talk about Yanmega. Yanmega is great because of its versatility for one, and two, it does a decent amount of damage. First, for 3 colorless energy, that's right, Yanmega only requires 3 colorless energy, meaning Yanmega EX can be put in any deck you want, which is pretty awesome. For 3 colorless energy, air slash deals 120 damage, which is a considerable amount of damage. Of course, 3 energy is somewhat hard to get to, but you're going to see how I put this deck together to more easily get to 3 energy. Of course, after you use air slash, you discard a random energy from this Pokemon. But again, 3 colorless energy, so Yanmega can go in any deck, which is pretty nice, dealing 120 damage. Yanmega EX can be found in the Space-Time Smackdown Dialga packs. Next, Yanma, of course, you need to evolve into Yanmega EX. Yanma, basic Pokemon, flat for 1 colorless energy, deals 20 damage. Pretty straightforward, also can be found in the Space-Time Smackdown Dialga packs. Next, let's talk about the star, the most versatile Pokemon, or at least one of the most versatile Pokemon in Pokemon TCG Pocket right now, Greninja. Greninja is phenomenal, especially in this deck. I'm running water energy in this deck. Of course, as I mentioned, Yanmega EX colorless energy, so you can run it with any energy that you choose. Since I have Greninja in this deck, I'm running it with water energy. So Greninja for 2 energy, 1 water, 1 colorless is Mist Slash, 60 damage. Straightforward. Where Greninja really shines is its ability, Water Shuriken. Once during your turn, you may do 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That's absolutely phenomenal. You can do 20 damage to the Pokemon in the active slot. You can do 20 damage to a Pokemon on the bench. And that pairs up really well with Cyrus, that I'll talk about in a little bit. But Greninja, if you have 2 on the field, if you are able to pull both of them and get them on the playing field, you're going to be dealing 40 damage from Water Shurikens, 1 from one Greninja and 1 from another. So you pair 2 Greninjas up with Yanmega and you can deal 160 damage per turn, which is absolutely phenomenal. Greninja can be found in the Genetic Apex Charizard packs. If you don't have a Greninja, grind for it. It is absolutely worth it. It is one of the most versatile cards. Even decks that don't run water energy run a Greninja just because of its ability, Water Shuriken, that can deal 20 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon on the battlefield. It's absolutely phenomenal. Next, I have Froakie in this deck. Of course, you need to evolve into Greninja. Froakie for 1 colorless energy, flop, deals 10 damage. Can also be found in that Genetic Apex Charizard packs. Let's talk about the Ramper, the Pokemon that's going to get the energy onto our Pokemon a little bit quicker. Manaphy. Manaphy was around a little while ago, has kind of dropped off a little bit just because water decks haven't been too great in the meta right now. But Manaphy is great at ramping up energy on Pokemon. Yanmega is included in this because you can throw Manaphy out there. The goal for this deck is get Manaphy in the active slot and get Oceanic Gift going. So you choose 2 of your benched Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to that Pokemon, and that requires 1 water energy. So the hope and the dream for this deck, get your Manaphy in the active slot as quickly as possible, get at least 1 Yanma on the bench and at least 1 Froakie. You can utilize Manaphy's Oceanic Gift to power each of these Pokemon up. Then if you're lucky enough, perhaps you have enough energy on both your Yanmega EX and your Greninja to pull your Manaphy back before it faints and start attacking with both of these Pokemon, either Pokemon. You can kind of play this by ear. It's really nice to have 2 different Pokemon, whether it's Greninja with water, Yanmega EX with your grass bug, or you can call it bug. It's technically a bug Pokemon, but the trading card game has it as grass. But since you have it as that grass type energy or that grass type Pokemon, depending upon what deck you're facing, you can deal that specific damage, so you could get that extra 20. So it's kind of nice having 2 different Pokemon in here that you can deal added weakness damage to, so that's really nice as well. But that's the hope and the dream, and your Manaphy is going to get you there. That's what's really nice about having Yanmega EX is colorless and pairing it with Manaphy, because Manaphy can power it up, and then Yanmega's dealing 120 in that active slot. Your Greninja's on the bench dealing its 20 damage, added damage to whatever Pokemon you need to deal damage to. You also need Greninja with Yanmega EX, just in case you face the nasty Oricorio. Everyone knows Oricorio, but if you don't, Oricorio does not take active damage from your active EX Pokemon. So EX Pokemon can't damage Oricorio. You need to rely on another Pokemon, so Greninja is great for that. It deals 60 damage with its normal attack, so you can easily dispatch Oricorio with 1 Water Shuriken and your Water Mist, or your Mist Slash. Next, let's talk about Rare Candy. You need Rare Candy in this deck because I'm not running Frogadier. I am skipping the stage 1 to go for a couple of Rare Candies so I can evolve Froakie right into Greninja. So for those of you who don't know, Rare Candy, if Froakie is on the playing field for at least 1 turn and you have Rare Candy and Greninja in your hand, you can evolve right into Greninja, or that stage 2 Pokemon, skipping the stage 1. So you don't need Frogadier in here. I am skipping putting any Frogadiers in here because I want to get to Greninja as quickly as possible. It just helps to get Greninja and maybe even 2 Greninjas on the playing field pretty quickly, which I do like, and I want to forego the Frogadier in favor of an extra Irida or an extra Cyrus. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. Rare Candy is going to be found in the Celestial Guardians packs. Next, couple of the basic cards that are pretty much required in most decks. Pokeball, you draw a basic Pokemon from your deck to your hand, and Professor's Research, you draw 2 cards. Next, a couple more trainer cards that really make this work. Let's talk about Cyrus, because I mentioned Cyrus briefly in the beginning of the video. Cyrus is perfect with Greninja. It's just a match made in heaven. Greninja can attack a Pokemon on the bench with its Water Shuriken. You attack a Pokemon on the bench that you want in that active slot, and then you utilize Cyrus to drag that Pokemon that now has damage on it from the bench to the active slot. It is a match made in heaven. Every deck that I run Greninja, I run at least 1, if not 2 Cyruses, because it just makes it so much easier to get to a Pokemon on my opponent's bench. And now that I'm dealing that 20 damage, if I have Yanmega in that active slot, I can deal an extra 120 damage to it. So that Pokemon, I just draw it out from the bench. I now can deal 120 damage to that Pokemon. And there are a lot of great Pokemon in the game right now that are being utilized that have 140 HP or less. Greninja's one of them, only 120 HP, so you can take out your opponent's Greninja. Sylveon has 140 HP. Of course, there are a bunch of Pokemon that have 140 HP or less, so you're going to be able to snipe them from your Greninja and then finish them off with your Yanmega. So it's a perfect match, dealing 140 damage. Again, if you're lucky enough to have 2 Greninjas on the playing field, you're now dealing 160 damage, which can take out even more Pokemon. So it's a phenomenal pair to have. Cyrus is great for them because of this, being able to snipe whatever Pokemon you want and drawing them out to that active slot. And Cyrus is going to be found in the Space-Time Smackdown Palkia packs. Last but not least, let's increase the survivability of this deck, and that's why water decks are great with Irida, and it's perfect for Yanmega EX. Since I'm going to be equipping only water energy in this deck, Irida is perfect for it to keep all of the Pokemon in this deck alive. So Irida, you heal 40 damage from each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached. Manaphy is going to be attaching water energy to our Pokemon on the bench. Most of the Pokemon are going to have water energy attached. So if you're facing a Pokemon that can deal damage to one of the Pokemon on your bench, say you are facing another Greninja deck, or you just took damage at the beginning of battle and you retreated that Pokemon, any Pokemon that has water energy equipped, you play Irida and you're going to heal 40 damage. So that's absolutely awesome. You can heal up all of the Pokemon on your side of the playing field and really increase the survivability of your team and your deck, so you can defeat your opponent a little bit more easy and keep your deck alive a little bit more easy. Irida is going to be found in the Triumphant Light packs. This deck is extremely fun to play. And of course, nobody's playing Yanmega EX right now. There are a lot of great cards, there are a lot of great decks, but I really love Yanmega EX here, paired with Manaphy and paired with Greninja. Manaphy, you get Manaphy out in the active slot as quickly as possible. You start ramping up energy on your Yanma, eventually Yanmega EX, your Froakie, eventually your Greninja, and then you'll have 2 Pokemon ready to go based off of the battle. Of course, most battles, the goal is going to be get Yanmega EX in that active slot, have 2 Greninjas on your bench, let your 2 Greninjas deal their 40 damage from 20 each water shurikens, and have your Yanmega EX deal its air slash for 120. Of course, you're going to be losing energy off of your Yanmega EX, so you're going to have to keep equipping energy on it. But by that point, it won't matter because your Manaphy has hopefully already ramped up the energy on your Greninjas on the bench. So you're not going to have to worry about losing that energy off of your Yanmega EX. So it's perfect to get that strategy implemented if you have 1 Greninja on the playing field and your Yanmega EX in the active slot. You're dealing 140 damage a turn. If you have 2 Greninjas on the playing field and your Yanmega EX in that active slot, you are now dealing 160 damage per turn. Not many opponents are going to be able to survive that. On top of that, pairing Cyrus is absolutely phenomenal. You can take out a Pokemon that just doesn't have a lot of HP on the bench, either to win you a game or defeat your opponent's Pokemon before they're able to evolve. Perhaps there's a Dratini on the bench that you don't want your opponent to evolve into a Dragonite. Maybe there's a Charmander on the bench that you don't want your opponent to evolve into a Charizard. So Greninja is great that way because you can snipe a Pokemon on the bench, draw them to the active slot with Cyrus, and then finish them off pretty easily, either with your Greninja or your Yanmega EX. So it's absolutely perfect for that pair. I love this pairing. This pairing deals a ton of damage. It's very fun once you get it up and going, and it's actually not too hard to get up and going. The toughest part is just making sure you get Manaphy in that active slot and going. But honestly, if you don't get Manaphy, Greninja is a Pokemon that you can get going pretty quickly, and it can win a battle for you. I've won several battles without Manaphy, without Yanmega EX, just by utilizing Greninja in that active slot. As soon as you get your Greninja going, you're dealing 80 damage, which is still really good to utilize and deal damage to your opponents. 80 damage is not bad at all, especially if you can get it going before your opponent evolves. You're starting to knock out their basic Pokemon pretty easily with your Greninja. This deck is awesome. Your Irida can heal it up, and of course, the pairing is great. Definitely check this out. Y'all are gonna like this one. Let me know if you've been utilizing Greninja, what decks you've been utilizing Greninja in. Have y'all ever checked out Yanmega EX? I know Yanmega EX fell by the wayside as soon as it came out. Some people didn't like the 3 energy. Some people didn't like that you lost an energy. But I've utilized Yanmega EX in a couple of decks, and I've really enjoyed it. I've really liked putting it into different decks, especially with it being 3 colorless energy, an extremely versatile Pokemon that can go in any deck. So I really love it. It's such a phenomenal Pokemon to put in many different decks. I absolutely love it. But definitely check it out and let me know what y'all think in the comments. If there are any Pokemon you'd like to see in a specific deck, let me know and I'll come up with a deck for that Pokemon. Just leave a comment and let me know. Again, thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon TCG content. It does really help out me and my channel. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.